So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the pitch as a brand ambassador. So basically, we have CSRs, which are client support representatives, that are trained to look for people specifically in certain areas of expertise that would be a good fit for our program. So primarily it's doctors, attorneys, financial advisors, real estate brokers, things of that nature. So what they're doing is they're looking at LinkedIn profiles to see, would this person be a good fit to become a certified consultant with Katapult Enterprises? And then if they feel like they're a good fit, they send out an email. And we have right now, we had 79, but our goal is to have 100 CSRs. And we're primarily hiring young ladies that are anywhere from like 18 to 25 primarily. We do have, some guys, and we do have some older ladies as well. But our reason for doing this is we are focused on the Philippines, and it's a way that our company is giving back by giving them the opportunity to make great finances. But not only that, from my business advisors and people that I know that have been to the country, it's really a way to, not only are we helping generations, because a lot of these girls have children, they have their parents, their grandparents living with them. So the finances they're making are changing generations, okay? But then not only that, sex trade is a big thing there. So it's really keeping them out of sex trade. It's giving them an opportunity, even if that's not the case, it's giving them an opportunity to really make some excellent finances for their company. The exchange is like insane, to where, $3 to $4 an hour is a lot over there. Like that's what they get paid. So when they make a 10% commission on one of our sales, it's like a month, it's like weeks of salary or like a month of salary. So it's really changing the financial landscape, and it's a way that we feel really good about giving back. So these CSRs that are creating these leads that are brand ambassadors like yourself are going to be, contacting and calling. When you're doing that, you can know like this is a lead that came from someone that, these finances are going to change their lives, right? So it's a way that we give back. It's something that like, I'm really happy that we decided to do this. And again, like right now we have about 79 CSRs, and we're growing that we want to have a steady 100 CSRs that are working for us. So we have a private Facebook group where the CSRs, they post the leads that they get. And then what's going to happen is we have someone leading that group. And then that person, which right now is Jody, will be sending you these leads to call. So once you receive the lead to call, like what you'll do is as a Katapult Brand Ambassador, you will let us know what hours you're available, because this whole opportunity is all about creating your own hours, working when you want to work, not having a 9 to 5, that freedom of, okay, these are the hours that I want to put towards this. And then once you let us know your schedule, and we'll discuss that another time, but your schedule and what hours you want to put towards it, then you will start receiving leads to call. And then we're going to talk about what do you do when you call this person. Okay, so we're going to go over the pitch here in a little bit. The telephone pitch was something that one of our brand ambassadors recently wrote, and it was basically from my training and the things that I've said for the past, years and years and years to people. But I want to give you kind of like, I'm going to have you write down kind of an outline of how the conversation, just some bullet points of how the conversation goes. And then we'll go over the pitch more specifically, okay?
Okay.
All right, so the first thing is, of course, you're going to introduce yourself. So you're going to be like, hi, this is Isabella with Katapult Enterprises. Make sure you always say the company's name. This is Isabella with Katapult Enterprises. And then after you introduce yourself, how did you connect with them? Why are you calling them? You were contacted about our consultant certification program and then you'll have the information as the brand ambassador. You're going to have the information of how we got in contact with them. So in other words, Jody reached out to you on LinkedIn or, whoever it is, right? You were reached out to via Dr. Zoe's LinkedIn by Jody. Jody runs my LinkedIn also. It could be a plethora of different people. It could be Charity. It could be, Emily. It could be like many, many different people that are working for us. It could be Carlos. It could be Mark. It could be anybody that reaches out to them. It could be a brand ambassador or one of our CSRs, but you will have that information of whose lead it is. Okay. So introducing yourself. Hey, this is Isabella with Katapult Enterprises. Jody reached out to you via Dr. Zoe's LinkedIn. And I just wanted to, about becoming a certified consultant. And we do have an opportunity for partial scholarships, but we just wanted to call and make sure that it's a good fit, that kind of thing. Okay. So another thing is we really have found over the years that when you're kind of having them qualify themselves, it's a much better thing. So in the beginning of the conversation, when you're like, hey, this is Isabella, you were reached out to via Dr. Zoe's LinkedIn by Jody, and I'm calling today to talk about this opportunity. But first, I want to hear about you and your career so far. Tell me about yourself. So basically you're making them qualify themselves in a way, but you do want to find out about them. You want to find out, what has their career been, so far? What are their desires? Are they, is this something that can complement what they're already doing? Because this causes an excellent additional stream of income, even if they're very busy, even if they're, a doctor, even if they're an attorney, even if they're a financial advisor, being a consultant is sometimes a lot more lucrative. They can make a lot more finances. Like, the minimum our consultants charge once they come through the program, and you can make yourself a note of this, is $2,000 an hour. I personally have been doing this for 15 years. I charge $5,000 an hour. So, that's a client is $20,000 a month. So when you have clients that you've had for years and years and years, it's very lucrative because once you become a confidant for someone and you become a secret weapon in their pocket, then they want to continue to have that confidentiality and those weekly sessions. So it's very powerful to make a difference in people's lives. It's very powerful in changing the financial landscape of their lives. This is something that, has been very successful. So with that being said, really let them talk about, themselves. Let them, and in that space right there in the beginning, when you're allowing them to talk about themselves, what you want to do is you really want to build a connection with them. You really want to see if there's a connection. Now, we all know there's a lot of idiots out there, right? So you're going to get idiots every once in a while. And, if you have an idiot on the phone and you know that this person's an idiot, then cut the conversation short and you're like, yeah, no. Right? But give it a minute. But if it's someone that sounds bright and they're engaging, when you say and then you're going to have every once in a while, you'll have somebody who's not they're just like, oh yeah, well, I even had a guy, I think it was upstate New York, and as you know, because you just graduated from chiropractic school and that's how we got in touch with you. But also we had a guy, he was a chiropractor who's been having a practice for 7-8 years, but he still hasn't gotten it off the ground. He's upstate New York. He's in a smaller area or whatever the case may be. And he is like, barely would talk. He's like, I'm thinking to myself, well, no wonder your practice hasn't gotten off the ground. He's like, very short with his answers. He was like, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh, yeah? Well, tell me about, you and your practice and your clients. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. And so it's like, okay, well, no wonder, your business isn't successful. So that's obviously probably someone, like, it was a forced conversation, which that doesn't happen that often. Idiots and, like, people who are more passive, like, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen sometimes. Normally, and then, you just know that it's not going to be a good fit and whatever the case may be. Normally, it's a phenomenal conversation and people will open up, and the more you engage with them and you create that space for that person to have their first experience getting on the phone with somebody from Catapult and, being that curious about them, being, loving, kind, a safe place for them to kind of open up. Like, hey, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your career so far. And the biggest thing, Isabella, is like, here you are, like you're a young lady, you're 25, but you're bright and you're smart. Never, ever, ever be intimidated by anyone. I don't care. Like, I've had, every color, creed, walk, nationality, religion, way of life person working for me. And what I tell all of them is, I don't care if you're on the phone with a multimillionaire or a billionaire with a B. I do not want my people to be intimidated by anyone, because what you're offering is going to change their lives. So even if they have all the money in the world, they might want to come through our program to get a fresh perspective, because it's a life-changing experience, whatever the case may be. Never, ever be intimidated by anyone, because what you're offering is a proven, successful program that has changed every single person's life that's been through it. Not only that, we've never had a chargeback in the history of the company, okay? We've never had a chargeback for the program. Every single person that's been through it has said it's either, given them clarity of purpose, they've been able to redefine their purpose, discovering, and that's one of our purposes, is to help people discover the true essence of who they were created to be. Or it's given them a fresh perspective, clarity. These are the things, like, it's been life-changing for them. People who came through the program, we launched this program in 2008. We've certified nearly 8,000 individuals internationally. And people come back years later to thank us and say, hey, this changed my life. This changed my marriage. This changed my company. This changed my perspective. This really changed my life so much. I can't thank you enough. People come back years later and thank us, and it's phenomenal. It's great. It's some of them go on to become successful consultants, or they add it to their repertoire of things that they're doing. And some of them don't. Some of them have come through the program to invest in themselves and to get that fresh perspective, to get that clarity of purpose. The thing about this is, it started off as a life coach certification program. And when you're on the website and you see the link, the link will come up as life coach certification. And the reason why that is because that's how it originated. But then we realized, like, life coaching really became an oversaturated, cheesy market. Everybody and their brother and their sister, their mother and their aunts are all saying they're life coaches, and they suck. Well, we're not in the business of trying to suck. And we have, we're definitely head and shoulders above other personal development companies. And I'll get into that here in a second. But we definitely want, you to understand, as a brand ambassador, you're representing something that is extremely valuable and is extremely life-changing. Okay, first off the bat. When you get on the phone with them, let them make a connection with you, okay? Then what you want to say, well, let me tell you a little bit about Catapult and our backstory, a little bit about the company. So this company started, we started off as an entertainment company that managed multi-platinum artists, that worked, with filmmakers in the entertainment industry. And then when iTunes came out in the early 2000s, our CEO decided that it was time to change gears, and 7707, so it would be easy to remember the date. Plus, I love numbers, right? I'm very much so.
You just had your 15th anniversary.
Yes. Yesterday. It's so awesome. I'm so excited. But so 7707, we changed the company from Katapult Entertainment to Katapult Enterprises, and into a personal development company. And so, I've always loved the study of psychology since I was a little girl, and what made someone successful and another person not successful. I've always been intrigued by visionaries. So I literally utilized my connections to get behind the scenes of Dale Carnegie's, Zig Ziglar events, Tony Robbins events. And I really loved this concept when it first came out of life coaching, because it was about taking a person where they're at and moving them forward. Okay. These are some of the things that I talk about. But then, like I said, life coaching became an oversaturated market. So now we utilize the word consultant, advisor. Okay. And, what we do in this program is basically, so when you have them on the phone and you talk about the company a little bit, I also want you to mention and just make yourself a note, and it's probably in the pitch. And I'm going to go off pitch today because I want you to get more value out of just letting it flow as a conversation when you're talking to someone. So also you might want to say something and you keep it short and sweet and whatever you feel comfortable with, but I'm going to talk to you about it so you can say what you want to say, because each one of our brand ambassadors is going to give it their own personality. Okay. But we have 3 divisions. The first division is confidential consulting. So we have had 27 NFL clients, lots of retired NFL clients. We have Fortune 500 CEOs. We've had political leaders in our country and other countries. Almost every megachurch pastor in America has been our client at one time or another. So religious leaders. And we also have a couple billionaires as clients that have been clients for years. And what that is it's confidential consulting. So they have a weekly session with us, and we become their secret weapons in their pockets. Another thing I also say, and another thing that's very important to know about the brand of Katapult Enterprises, is that our whole brand is built on confidentiality. And the reason why is because as the CEO, I grew up with a very powerful, very successful grandfather, and he was all about business. And I knew that he couldn't tell my grandmother everything. I don't care how successful someone is. A lot of times they don't want to bring things home, so they don't tell their spouse everything, okay? And if they have a God connection or a spiritual connection, they still need a human connection. So what we've done is built this brand on confidentiality for leaders. We joke around and we say it's better than attorney-client privilege. We're all about being there for leaders. Leaders are there, Isabella, for everyone else. Who's there for the leader? Leaders are there. They are our innovators. They are our people who are creating the economy. They are people who are, making a difference. They are people who are creating employment. You know what I mean? And then, and they give and they give and they give and they give. Trust me, I know from experience. And we're a rock for everybody else, but who's a rock for us? Most of the time, no one. So what we've built this brand on is confidentiality. So it doesn't matter how high profile the leader is, how high profile the celebrity is, how high profile the professional sports person is. They could come to us and know that they have a safe place and know that they can get confidential consulting about everything under the sun. It doesn't matter if it's love, sex, and relationships, or if it's their finances and their investments. It doesn't matter what it is. But they could come to us and know that it's 100% confidential. Because, it's extremely important. Can you see where there's value in that?
Oh, yeah. Because, especially the big leaders, they're probably terrified if something gets out, like, what am I going to do?
Right. And we've done a lot of helping people deal with the media, helping some of our sports guys that maybe have gotten themselves into a high profile situation where they need to change public, perception is really difficult to navigate. So to help them change public perception, a lot of guys in the NFL, the littlest thing will happen and the media will jump all over it. So just helping them kind of navigate and getting getting their image back where it needs to be. But then you talk about a high profile businessman that's running $1 billion company, or maybe he's, got 5 companies and he's a billionaire. Who does he have to talk to and know that it's confidential? Not that many people. And we've become that reputation of being a secret weapon, and people like that pocket. So that's the first division. And I know today I'm going to get a little long-winded. You're going to pick and choose what you want to say, but that's the first division. The second division, and what I always say when I'm on the phone with them is hey, the second division is what I'm going to talk to you about today. Our certification program that we launched in 2008 and certified over 8,000, coaches, consultants, and advisors internationally. And then our third division is branding, marketing, and PR. And the nice thing about it is once someone comes through our program, they get a discount for life on all of our services. Okay. So we do have some partial scholarship opportunities available. And so it sounds like you'll be a great fit for this program. So let me tell you about it a little bit. And then now what you're going to do is build value after you've given them a little bit of the backstory. So the first thing is introducing yourself. How did you get connected with them? Letting them talk about themselves, right? Next bullet point is the company's backstory, and I was a little long-winded. You don't have to say that much, but a little bit about the backstory of our company, okay? And then the next bullet point is building value in the program. So write that down. Building value in the program. And Isabella, throughout the conversation you have with them, you want to engage them. But right now, the next part of, and so I want these bullet points to help you with, and we'll go through them again, but what I want these bullet points to help you with is to navigate your conversations. Then you take the phone pitch and you implement the phone pitch as a guide when you first get started, but I don't really want you to sound like you're reading. I want you to have a conversation with people, okay? So I'm just going to give you a lot of information and then and bullet points of how your conversation should go, and then you utilize this with the phone pitch, and you decide how you want your conversations to go. You can make notes on the pitch that you printed out, later, and say, oh, I remember doctors always said this, doctors always said that. Let me utilize that. So the next thing is, after you've told, them some backstory about our company, is building value in the program. All right, so pick a name, Isabella. Pick a name that we're talking to today, just so I can...
let's talk to Jim.
Okay, Jim. All right, so Jim, let me tell you about the program and why we reached out to you and thought you would be a good fit. Or sometimes they reached out to us. Lots of people come to the website and fill out the form that they're interested. So Jim, let me tell you a little bit about the program. Our program is a 6-week program. It's done over the phone, just like I'm talking to you right now. The first 3 weeks of the program. So what you want to do, Isabella, is you want to paint a picture in their mind. The first 3 weeks of this program, we treat you just like one of our confidential consulting clients. And the reason why we do that is because in hindsight, we want you to find out a great way. And this formula is very effective, a great way to set up a successful client coach, client consultant, client advisor relationship. Now, this also doubles as a leadership training program. So a lot of financial institutions will put their salespeople through it. A lot of real estate brokerages will put their agents through it. A lot of companies, car dealerships will put their top salesmen through it. And the reason why is because in anything you're doing dealing with people, this doubles as a leadership training program. But Jim, when we treat you like a client that first 3 weeks, it's also a very personal journey for you. And it's 100% confidential for you. And through that process and that formula, the more open you are, the more effective that process is. And through those first 3 sessions, you're going to be shocked that at the end of that, we basically have a map on how to consult you for the next 3 years. And that's because the formula works. The way that we implement this formula works. And that's what we teach you in this certification program. Then, Jim, what we do is we draw the line in the sand and we teach you the concepts. And so you want to make sure you're painting a picture. We draw the line in the sand. The second half of certification, it's 2 parts. It's the first 3 weeks. We're treating them like a client. So they're basically getting a huge value and they're actually saving money when they come through the program and being treated like one of our clients. So they get to experience that. So then we draw the line in the sand. And the reason why we do that, so in hindsight, they see the successful way to set it up, no matter who they're dealing with. Now, when you're talking about the program and you're building value in the program, you want to say, then we draw the line in the sand. And the second half of certification, we teach you the concepts of Catapult Consulting. Now, I want you to make a note. Right there, after you say draw the line in the sand, you're going to do what's called a takeaway. So your next bullet point, all right, is do the takeaway. All right. So the takeaway is when you say the second half of certification, we teach you the concepts. Now, this is the takeaway. And it's sales 101. And it's a psychological move. But it's what you're getting them to engage. Okay. And you're making an offer, but you want to make an offer in a successful way. So as much as I hate salesy bullshit, salesy people, this is going to change their lives. So you're getting them engaged by doing a takeaway. And is it a sales tactic? Fuck yes, it's a sales tactic. Okay? But it's necessary. The takeaway is, hey, now I'm going to tell you the concepts of the second half of the certification. We teach you the concepts. Now, Jim, this might not be for you. Now, you've already got him engaged. He's already enjoying the conversation. He's already talked about himself. You already have a connection with him. And then you take a step back. Now, it's like a dance. You're dancing with Jim now. Now, there's a dance, okay, like in relationships even. When you're in a relationship, all right, which I know you are right now, and you take a step back, that person naturally will take a step forward. But if you're constantly taking a step forward, a step forward, a step forward, that person's going to back off. It's the same thing energetically in your conversation with Jim. You're taking a step back, so Jim's going to take a step forward, and this is called the takeaway. Jim, I'm going to tell you about our concepts. It might not be for you. And if you don't agree with these concepts, you just let me know, and we won't waste any more of each other's time. Jim's listening. You got Jim's attention. Listen, our concepts are we all have the answers within ourselves. We all have our gut instincts, our intuition, our God-given discernment, where we know that we know that we know in the core of us. And what we do in this training is we teach you, no matter who you're dealing with, a client, a customer, a consumer, a contributor, if you're a nonprofit organization, how to get that person to make a choice from the core. Because a lot of times, Jim, people get bogged down in life with disappointments and discouragements, and they stop making choices from their core. They start making choices from a lot of guys, not all men, and I always say, throw the disclaimer in there, not all men, because we have divine masculine motherfuckers out there now that know who they are. Not all men, but a lot of men are really good at putting things and in their minds and putting things in different compartments, and they make choices and they execute out of logic. And I even go into like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a plan. A lot of women, unfortunately, not all women, but a lot of women will start when they get bogged down with disappointments and discouragements, busyness in life, and you picture in your mind when you're talking about it, Isabella, is it a soccer mom and she's juggling the kids in a business she's trying to start and da-da-da-da-da? Is it a student, like yourself that was trying to juggle a relationship, family, work, and school? Girls, women go through a lot. Women that are like, trying to run everything. They got to keep the house, keep everything. And then on top of it, like work too. What's going on? How shitty, were they treated in their last relationship? A lot of women, when they get bogged down with disappointments and discouragements in life, I want you to feel it. Paint the picture when you're talking to somebody. They start making choices out of their emotions. And we all know that women are hormonal. We do not want women making choices out of their emotions. Oh, follow my heart's desires, my heart. No, we cannot make choices out of our emotions. So, Jim, what we teach when you're dealing, again, with the 4 C's, a client, a customer, a consumer, if you're a corporation, a contributor, if you're a nonprofit, when you're dealing with a client, a consumer, a customer, a contributor, it doesn't matter what order you say those in, but when you're dealing with somebody, we want you to learn how to help them make choices from their core. So what we believe is we all have the answers within, and we just help them work through their mind, will, and emotions, work through to get to the core and start making those decisive decisions. This is something I want you to write down. We're going to help you teach people to make decisive decisions. Decisive decisions that shape destiny.
Okay, so sorry. Help you. What was the third word? I'm sorry.
We're going to help your clients make decisive decisions that shape destiny.
That's good.
That's mine too. Hashtag Dr. Zoe. I love writing original quotes, and a lot of my stuff over the past 20 years has been stolen. I'll go to a place, I'll see one of my quotes on the front of a notebook. I'm like, I'm not getting paid for that. It's okay though. It's okay, because Jesus, Krishna, and Buddha all said a lot of the same shit, and it's just consciousness, right? And a lot of people will say, a lot of philosophers will say, nothing has not been said. So you can't, I just like to play with words. I love to write since I was a kid. So decisive decisions that shape destiny, that's what we're going to do. We're going to teach the client to make decisive decisions that shape destiny. And again, from the gut instincts, the core, the intuition, the God-given discernment, those words are very important. The core, the gut instincts, the intuition, the God-given discernment. Those words are very important. Now, Jim, is that something you agree with? And so sometimes I'll say, put your hand on your stomach. So, Isabella, I'm going to tell you right now, put your hand on the pit of your stomach where you get nauseous, where you get butterflies, the pit of your stomach. And all of us were born with either, you could call it your God-given discernment. A lot of Christians will call it God-given discernment. You know, a lot of women will call it intuition. A lot of guys will call it gut instincts. But where you know that you know that you know that when you're on a detour in life, when you were supposed to make a right-hand turn, and you knew that you were supposed to make this decision, and let's call that decision the right-hand turn, and you were supposed to make the right-hand turn, but you were like, no, I'm going to go left, and you ended up in a detour in life. And this is what happens with people. They stop making decisive decisions from their core, and they go with logic, or they go with emotion, and they go left, and then they're in a bad business deal. They're in a bad relationship. They're in a bad situation because they didn't follow their gut instincts. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we teach in the program. Now, you can shorten that. You can say it however you want to say it. But when you say, hey, what we teach is for you to help your clients make decisive decisions from the core, their instincts, their God-given discernments, because we believe that everyone has the answers within themselves. Everyone has the answers within themselves. They just get bogged down. Is that something you agree with, Jim? So when you have done, when you've said, hey, if this doesn't agree with you, then we won't waste any more of each other's time. And then I did the long version today with you, but you do a short version of, we believe we all have the answers within ourselves. We all, and what we do is we teach, you to help clients, customers, consumers, contributors make choices from their core, their intuition, their gut instincts. A lot of times people get bogged down with busyness in life. And is that something you agree with, that we all have the answers within? And of course, Jim's going to say yes. Of course. Of course I believe that. Of course I believe in my gut instincts. Of course I believe in my intuition. Of course I believe in my God-given discernment. Of course I believe everybody has that within themselves. So what we are, Jim, is we're facilitators. And then it may or may not, benefit depending on how the conversation's going. What we are is facilitators. We aren't we're not like football coaches, like a lot of these cheesy life coaches that are out there like, follow my 10 keys of wisdom and you're going to become a success. Follow my 5 golden rules and you're going to have all the money in the world that you want. No, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. What we believe is we're not like football coaches that are going to grab somebody's arm and take them out in the field and say like, do this and do that, and you're going to get successful. No, what we are is facilitators. The person is on their path. All we're here to do is shine a light on their path to help them find their way. They have the answers. We're helping facilitate their destiny, decisive decisions, helping them come into the full essence of who they were created to be. So the manifestation of wealth and prosperity is an afterthought, is something that happens because they become exactly who they're supposed to be and making those decisive decisions. And once we do that, then the manifestation of wealth is just is going to happen because of the obedience of being true to oneself. And that's what life is all about. We hear the word authentic thrown around like crazy, but, really being real. And we're all different. We all have a different definition of success. We're all created like fingerprints or snowflakes. We're all different. As cheesy and cliche as that sounds, we are all different. So this program is designed to really pull out, what are your life experiences? What are you passionate about? So we get to the nitty gritty of where you, and this is something I want you to write down, we find out through your life experiences and your passions, where you will truly inspire and invoke change in someone's life. So that's super important. So
evoke change in someone's life. Yes.
Yeah, read that part back to me.
We find out through your life experiences and passions where you will evoke change in someone's life.
Invoke, voke change. And I apologize, my lawn service is here, so it's a little noisy in the background.
It's okay.
Invoke change.
Okay.
Okay. So you built value in the program, right? And now you talked about our concepts. You've done the takeaway, right? So now let's kind of connect with them. Ask them, make sure they're engaging through the process. Ask them a question. All right. So now the next bullet point, Isabella, is price comparison. So as the brand ambassador, when you're doing this phone call, and again, I'm training you, so I'm long-winded as far as giving you a lot of examples and stuff, because I want you to utilize what you feel comfortable with between the script and what I'm giving you today. The next bullet point is price comparison. So here we go, right? And what I like to do and what I would like you to do is hold out your left hand when you're talking. I'm Greek and Italian. I talk with my hands constantly. But you're going to be Greek. You're going to be Italian today. You talk with your hands when you're Italian. So I want you to hold out your left hand, and I want you to say, and I want you to kind of like put it in the air and shake it a little bit. Be like, now when you're saying this, and this is it's a great thing to do when you're talking to, someone, even though it's over the phone. It's great because it's going to make you remember. You put out your left hand. Now, Jim, there's programs out there where you could become, and you got your left hand out, and you're shaking your left hand, and I don't know why this brings the money in too, okay? I don't know why it works. It works. It's a close when you do this. Wave your left hand. Put it in the air like you just don't care. Hey, now, Jim, there's programs out there where you could become a certified coach or consultant, and you go online and you watch a bunch of cookie cutter videos and a bunch of cookie cutter homework, and it's the same bullshit cookie cutter crap that everybody else is getting. So, you go on, you can get those programs for anywhere from around $14,000 to $20,000. Now you planted the seed in their head. $14,000 to $20,000. Okay. There's programs out there. There's a John Maxwell program. It's been around forever. I think that's about anywhere from like 14 to 17. What you do is you watch. I love John Maxwell, but his program is, meh. You know what I mean? And so you go out, you watch you watch videos, and you do cookie cutter homework. It's the same shit for every single person. And then it spits out a certificate for you. You do it at your own pace. It spits out a certificate for you. All right. So there you got your left hand. Now you're going to put out your right hand. Right hand. Now, Jim, there's other programs out there, and you're waving your right hand, and you got it out there, and you're talking, and you got your right hand out there. There's other programs out there that are anywhere from $45,000 on up to $100,000, where you could become a certified coach or consultant. Those programs, a lot of them, you can go and you could go sit in a classroom, in a group setting. You could go to an event. You can, become certified for anywhere from $45,000 to $100,000 in those programs. Even Dr. Zoe has, a close friend of hers who's been on her show, Dr. Zoe Today, JT Fox. He's got a program for $45,000. Lots of people go through that program and say that our program gave them much more value. Now, smack your hands in the middle, right? Our program right now is $25,000. We're very fairly priced. Our program has always been this price. We have not raised the price, as of yet because of inflation and stuff. We held off on it. The program is $25,000. Now, Jim, because Jody reached out to you, right? And so we grant 10 partial scholarships per month. And because Jody reached out to you, I can give you $5,000 partial scholarship, because after my conversation with you today, I could definitely tell that you're a great fit for our program. But I want you to feel that. I don't want you to just say it. I want you to have made a connection with Jim. Like I said in the beginning, if he's an idiot and like a passive, doesn't talk, you got to force the conversation, or he's dumb as a box of rocks, then he's not a good fit. And you wouldn't be this far in the conversation if that's the case. So if you've gotten this far in the conversation and you're like, listen, Jim, I can offer you a $5,000. That brings, and this is where you go in now and you did the price comparison. And then the next bullet point is the price. You've given him the price. Okay, so I want you to write on your bullet point list, you did the price comparison. The next thing is the price. And then here comes the next bullet point, Isabella. And this is how you qualify. All right, so you did the comparison. You had the left hand out. There's programs out there for, around $14,000 to $20,000. You planted the seed in his head of that amount. Then there's programs out there for $45,000 to $100,000. Bam, we're right here at $25,000, and I've got an offer for you, and you definitely qualify. And you're able to give that offer of $5,000 as a partial scholarship. That brings your cost to $20,000. All right, you gave the price. Now, right after you say that, is that feasible for you?
And then they'll say yes or no.
Right. Wait a second. Or if you feel more comfortable saying, is that within your budget? Is that feasible for you? Or is that within your budget? And you've already got them. They're already so interested. And they're going to be like, well, yeah, it's definitely affordable, and they might be like, yeah, well, I can afford that. And then you're like, okay, well, listen, I would love to get you on our schedule and get you started, and you go into it. Or they might say, yeah, I don't know. It's not really. Well, listen, Jim, we do 0% financing in-house. 0% financing in-house. So what we can do for you is, and then you want to go into your payment plans. Now, your authorized payment plans are going to be on the Katapult Brand Ambassador PDF. It's also going to be on the Katapult Brand Ambassador content page that you've been sent. And your payment plans that you're authorized to offer are going to be on there. But let's say you said, okay, how about you want to try to get $10,000 down? And remember, you're making a hefty commission off of this. So the more money you get down, the more money you're going to get up front. If you break it up into payments, then you still get your same commission. It's just spread over every time they make a payment, you're going to get paid. But let's say you say to him, okay, well, what about, $10,000 now and $10,000 in 30 days? Or how about $5,000, 4 payments of $5,000. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what I could do. If you could come up with $10,000 down, I can break it up. And the most I could break it up to is $1,000 a month after that. And if he's like, well, you know what? I know I could do 5,000. And I know I could do the $1,000 payments, but I don't know if I could do 10. Say, well, then I'm going to have to get in touch. And then you get in touch with me. I'm going to have to get authorization for that. But try to work it out with one of the payment plans that you have already, okay, in place. Then let's say he says, yeah, I could do $10,000 now and I could do $10,000 in 30 days. No problem. Or I'll tell you what, if you make a decision right now and you make that payment right now, I could knock off another $2,000. You pay $18,000 right now out the door. I'll let you do that as well if you want to do that as well. Then you're getting a bigger commission. Okay. But let's say he does $10,000, and that's the most common one. $10,000 now, $10,000 in 30 days. Most of these people are business owners. They can afford that. Okay. So, or, whatever the case may be. So, all right, great. Well, let's go ahead and let's get you to, now what's going to happen is you're going to make your payment via the VIP payment button at the bottom of any page. Write that down. You're going to make your payment via, and you say it just like this. You're going to make your payment via the VIP payment button at the bottom of any page of our website. You're going to make your payment via the VIP payment button at the bottom of any page of our website. You just scroll all the way to the bottom and you're going to see the VIP payment button there, and you punch in the amount. Because if you go to the page where the certification program is, it's $25,000. Now, what's going to happen, Jim, is once you get that payment in, within 24 hours, we're going to have a payment agreement sent to you via email, and it's just an electronic signature. It's just like if you were buying an iPhone from AT&T. It's just an electronic signature, very simple. So you make that payment, and you could go there right now, Jim, while I'm on the phone with you. That our website, again, is catapultent.com, and that's Catapult with a K. Katapult, spell it out, Catapult together with a K. ENT, short for enterprises.com. Catapultent.com. And when you say it like that, they get it quicker. And trust me, I've been running this business for many, many years. Katapult, Catapult with a K, and then ENT, short for enterprises.com. Okay, great. You're there? All right, go ahead and scroll to the bottom of the page. You see that VIP payment button right there? Go ahead and make that $10,000 payment while we're on the phone. And what's going to happen within 24 hours, you're going to get an email. And what times are good for you, Jim, to start your certification? Now, in some cases, Isabella, you're going to have the master certification coaches schedules. Other times, what you're going to say is, now, once you make that payment, most of the time, what you're going to say is, once you make that payment within 24 hours, we're going to have the payment arrangement sent to you via email. And also, we will send your schedule to get started with your certification. But before we get on the phone, what are some times that work best for you so I can get one of our master certification coaches with you? Now, with the payment arrangement, again, the 0% interest is always like a great selling point. But do you have any questions on that, Isabella?
No, not. I've been taking lots of notes.
Okay, so let me say this too. Say he says, you know what, I love this and I definitely want to do it. And I've been, following Catapult for a while, or I had a chance to look at the testimonials and I really love it. And I just got to get my wife on board. So that's one thing that might come up. Or, okay, and you're like, okay, great. Well, I'll tell you what, I will hold this offer for 24 hours. Then the last thing I want you to write down, if they don't make the payment while they're on the phone with you, create a sense of urgency. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll make this offer good for 24 hours. I'd like you to make a decision within 24 hours. Now, let's say they say this, listen, I definitely want to do this. I got to move some money around. So it might take me a couple days because I got to move some money around. And that's a common thing. All right, great. Well, when do you think you can make the first payment? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to send a payment arrangement, or can you do something today in good faith? Can you do like $2,000 today and then the other $8,000 maybe on Friday? And then we'll put that in the payment arrangement. And then you could do the other $10,000 30 days from when you pay that $8,000 on Friday. Okay, great. No problem. Try to get something as a good, can you get what? And another good question is, what can you get started with today? Okay, well, what can you get started with today? If let's say that, I think I got I probably have $3,500. Well, if you do $3,500, can you do the rest of, to make up for 10, on this day? Whatever the case may be, try to work it out with them within limits. And then if you're not sure, be like, all right, well, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but let me see if I can get authorization to make that deal with you. And then you just get in touch with me and you tell me this person has this much. This is how they want to splice it and dice it. Can we make an exception? And can we do, this, like 2,500 every 2 weeks, or something like that? Or, if there's a special situation, just get in touch with me. Okay.
Okay.
And, but asking those kind of questions like, well, what's the best you could do today? Or what could you get started with now? And then once they make the first payment, if it's one of the payment arrangements, within 24 hours, we get them a payment arrangement to sign electronically, and they will receive an email. Another thing you want to mention is this is a business expense. It is a tax write-off. It's business training. So when you get that payment arrangement and it's going to state This program, this certification program is $25,000. We are giving you a $5,000 scholarship, and your payments are as follows. $10,000 has been received. There's 2 payments of $5,000 30 days apart after. That is a write-off. That serves as your receipt. It's also a tax write-off. That's something you might want to mention as well. Now, do you have any questions? How do you feel like now that we talked about this? We're going to go back over the bullet points now. But do you have any questions before we go back over the bullet points?
I feel a lot better about it after talking today. I've been reading through the pitch, like whenever we have downtime at work and at night and everything like that. And I've been trying to like kind of put it in my own words too, but like still keeping it within Catapult. What would you do if someone was just like super not for it? Would you just kind of get the conversation to end, or?
Yeah, just say, listen, we also offer branding services, which is everything from web design to logo design, web design, social media graphics, social media platforms. If you ever write a book 5 years from now, we do book cover design. So just keep us in mind for any services you might need in the future. And it was so great to connect with you. I just ask that you keep it positive. There is a way that we can help everyone. Another thing is now we are offering luxury retreats. Our luxury retreats, we are $50,000, but we have luxury retreats everywhere from in Florida, to Costa Rica, you know what I mean? And you can take advantage of one of our luxury retreats, and those are for top industry executives. So that's kind of a different animal. What I want to do with you right now as a new brand ambassador is I want you to get this down pat. And then I'm going to teach you as a brand ambassador how to sell the luxury retreats and how to sell branding. Now, once you get the program, which is our number one seller, down, and you learn to sell the program, then you can learn how to sell the branding packages. Now, you could sell them now, okay? But the branding packages, as you get to know the company more, and the luxury retreats. Now, if you think about it, your commission, you're making 20%, all right? Unless it's somebody else's lead. If it's somebody else's lead, it's 10%. All the breakdown is in your contract. But if it's your lead that you got, and we're going to do one more training where I'm going to talk about how to post, okay, to attract people. But today I just wanted to go over the pitch primarily. And I think that you got like a better understanding of this, right?
Yes, I'm able to so before we even got on the phone, I listened to that call with Jody, and I listened to the video that was on the website again, just to see how you put it in your own words and things like that. And I was trying to take notes on my little script and everything like that to kind of break it down some more so I don't sound like an idiot with you.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is don't you feel more comfortable now that we had this discussion? 100%. All right, so get a fresh sheet of paper. We're going to make this outline. Now that we've discussed it, we're going to write down these bullet points again. So when you have a conversation, these are the bullet points that you want to cover, okay?
Okay.
So, Number 1, introduce yourself, okay? Number 2, how you got connected with them. Whose lead was it? How did you connect with them? Why are you calling them? And we discussed that, okay? Number 3, let them talk about themselves. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your career thus far. I've got, a great opportunity here for you, but first I want to hear more about you. Make it natural. Let them talk about themselves. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, that's really cool. All right. Next thing is the company's backstory. Okay. And we went into detail today about that. And then just put in parentheses 3 divisions. You want to mention the 3 divisions. Company's backstory, mention the 3 divisions.
Okay.
Next is build value in the program. So you're engaging them. You're building value in the program. You're talking about the first half of the certification. Okay? So build value in the program. In parentheses, I want you to put engage them. The more charisma and charm you have, the more they're going to be engaged, the more they're going to want to buy from you, the more money you're going to make, the more lives you're going to change. Okay? The next thing is talk about our concepts. So I'm going to tell you, like, you draw the line in the sand, and then you're going to talk about the concepts. So right before you talk about the concepts, you're drawing the line in the sand. Remember that. And talking about the second half of the certification. And you're talking about the concepts of Catapult Consulting. The next thing is do the takeaway. Do the takeaway.
That is one thing that I kind of want to work on is the takeaway. I think I'm kind of...
You got it. It's a dance. It's easy. It's not hard. It's easy. You're just stepping back. You're like, listen, if this isn't for you, no problem. Listen, I'm going to tell you about the concepts. Our concepts is what we teach the second half of certification. And if it doesn't align with you, then just let me know. If this doesn't align with you, just let me know. That's usually what I say, And it's just stepping back a little bit. After you have them engaged, it's stepping back a little bit. The next thing is the price comparison, where you're waving your left, you're waving your right. Price comparison, smack in the middle, right? Price comparison, and the next bullet point is price. You're telling them our price. Now, sometimes you're not going to offer the scholarship. You just be like, I've had brand ambassadors that never offer a scholarship, and they always just sell it for $25. Our price is $25. They make more commission. They make more money, And
if these people can swing it, then it's nothing to them.
Yeah, exactly. So then the price, and then the last thing you're doing is you're sending them you're working out a payment arrangement, if necessary, going over the payment plans, 0% interest. All right. So after price is payment plans or payment. Asking before that, after the price, is that feasible for you? Is that affordable for you? So after price, but is that feasible for you? Is that affordable for you? Is that within your budget? Something like that. That's where you're qualifying it. Okay. And then finally, the VIP payment button, the payment plans and sending them to the VIP payment button. Now, let's say they're like, I got on the phone with you and I didn't really get to do a lot of research. Say, listen, that's fine. What if I follow up with you on this day? Is that good for you? 2 days from now or whatever. I want you to go ahead and you're going to send them the follow-up message, which is on your information. And you're going to make sure that they see, yes, do your due diligence, and then I'm going to get back in touch with you. Watch the videos and everything, but I'm only going to make this offer good for, and whatever you feel led for. Create a sense of urgency. Can you make a decision by Monday? It's Friday right now. Can you make a decision by Monday? I'll tell you what, why don't you do some due diligence over the weekend? Check out the videos and the testimonials. There's tons of testimonials out there. Google us, whatever you need to do. And then how about if I come back around and follow up with you on Monday? Meanwhile, we really look forward to working with you. Or meanwhile, think about the payment option that really fits your budget, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Just keep it positive.